Hey, let me see. Are we live? Is the question. Oh, yep, we're live. Just grabbing the link and sending it to the chat. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the February 6th edition of the Inner Circle Mentorship Live Trading Edition. Natasha is going to go ahead and open us up or open up the conversation talking about what is on the economic calendar for the day.
Good morning, everybody. So not much. We did have initial jobless claims. They came in pretty much in line with what they were expecting to see. So really a nothing burger there. And I've noticed that of late, where these reports, as you would have more impact on market movement, things have been relatively subdued. The market just seems to want to be bullish, even even when it has every opportunity to be bearish. Um, that's kind of where we are now. We do have the non-farm payrolls tomorrow. That's a slightly bigger deal than the report we got this morning, which was the initial jobless claims. Um, and so there's that. I'm not really expecting that to be anything significant tomorrow either. Um, every morning I kind of like to see indices are my preference. So I like to see what the NDX and the SPX are doing. And as you can see, I think we discussed this yesterday. We are still in a above the moving averages, and as long as that remains the case, I don't expect much downward movement. As you can see here on the hourly chart, we're just kind of floating here. And what you'll notice if I switch over to the NDX chart is we're in a fairly similar, the candles are just a little bigger. We're in a fairly similar pattern here. It's kind of hard to be bearish when your indices look like this, because you have to think about what is actually weighted and how heavily. I also think that with NVIDIA being up and staying up right now, that we will also have a difficult time moving below that. So that was kind of my little thing on that. I did want to take a moment and look at the Roblox chart. I found that to be very, very interesting this morning. They had earnings, and as you can see, they've kind of plummeted. um, they've kind of plummeted, but you see here that we started up here 75 level, and we dropped significantly with the report, and you can see that we went down below the 50, all the way down here almost to the 1, but it seems like the 886 caught it, and you see this tail. And you can actually see it forming on this 4-hour. I don't think it will go green today, but I don't think that with this chart that we're going to see this downward move hold. It's something that I would be interested in looking at a couple of weeks into the future to give it some time to kind of digest, because all of my research tells me that there is demand for Roblox, significant demand for Roblox. And as you can see, if we drop it to the hourly, it did exactly what you would expect it to do, which is to get caught here and start coming back up. So I'm putting this on my watch list for pretty much every day. I think it'll give us some indicators when it's ready to move. But it's down 17% as of right now. And it got, ooh, this, oh, Looked all the way down to about $51. I think this is something I might actually be looking to purchase for a long-term hold. What are your thoughts, Leslie?
I was just about to chime in and say that the interesting thing about Roblox is that here the got is so much cheaper 3 years ago. But the chart is, your chart is a little challenging, but it did wick to that 886 and basically trade right back up to the point 0.5 level. My only concern, which I think you have already addressed, is the potential for some consolidation. For me, my theory would be just beyond the February expiration date, and then we probably see a return to bullishness. That would be my expectation on Roblox. Short of what's that news at the bottom there? Short of a significant catalyst.
It was just earnings.
Okay.
Yep, it was just the earnings. Um, and we're seeing I've seen quite a few other charts that are kind of looking like this. Like it may be um, some good potential setups, and I think that this is a good reason to have a watch list. Um, a really good reason to have a watch list because this is definitely, to your point, we could have had this much cheaper. Um, I don't I don't expect it to go much lower. I expect it to do exactly what you said, which is to consolidate here and provide some opportunities for entry. I kind of actually, it's a nice spread. When is their next earnings? Um, I'll probably let it consolidate for a couple of more days, but this is something where I would probably be looking while it's beaten down right this second to grab some contracts that are beyond its next earnings cycle.
And those contracts I would think have probably have some pretty good prices right now.
Exactly. Stocks on sale. But yeah, I don't expect it to sit down here too long. Definitely think that it'll start moving again. And I'm actually kind of testing out your theory. I For me, I like a 3 to 4 week timeline, which is kind of in line with what you said after that expiration. And I never correlated the two until you said it. It's just my preference for how I go out when something looks just like this. And especially if it can finish the day above the 50, I think that would be kind of telling. With such a significant drop, for it to rebound like that, even though this isn't earnings, um, I like this for long-term contracts, long-term calls, actually.
Long term. Oh, you coming over to the wild side. Um,
No, listen, I mean, I like it. It's almost like having extra paychecks in the bank, right? It's like, oh, it's like, I like it. It's like the ATM. Like, oh, it's always nice to wake up and something happened with Roblox or any particular stock that you're playing those long-term calls on. And we saw that happen. Actually, I think we've seen it happen damn near every single day that we've been on here, Leslie, where something that you bought a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 weeks ago just shoots to the moon. What was that one that you caught the earnings play on? A.
AM, this one dropped out of the sky. AMSC is
Mm-hmm.
up 13% um in pre-market. And so it looks like it's going to continue in that direction. Let me maximize the chart. If you want, I can share it and just go over it real quick.
Sure.
If
But that's a beautiful chart right there. I love it. I'm sitting here like looking at it like, oh,
and so I forget what sparked my interest in this stock. But somewhere something that I read in bar chart let me know that it was time for this to move, and it may have just been around it being near the 200 moving average on the daily. and what the other moving averages were doing. And so we managed to catch an earnings play. I called a $30 March 21st on this contract or on this company, and we are trading right at 28.87 above all of the moving averages. And so what I expect to happen is we will probably get a sharp retrace at the open to try to shake winning traders out of the trade, and that will probably actually put us right at our low time frame 50% fib level. Let's see. Yep, put us right at the 50% fib level. But I'm actually going to hold this for, let's go back and look at the higher time frame fib. Because of the date that I have, I'm going to try to hold it to 35 or 38. And based on what they do, you guys can, I'll show you. Mission critical technology driven blah 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 for defense clients, missile defense systems. So you know that that automatically means government contracts. I would suggest that we try to position ourselves while it is at this price, because long term price potential on these companies and staying power on companies that get government contracts is, just look at Boeing as an example. They can, although they do everything wrong, they can do no wrong. So this is one of those kinds of companies. What else? And so I did a short video and dropped it in the mentorship chat about QNTM. So I'll just go over it because I know people, I think there's a combination of issues that are preventing people from taking full advantage of what it is we're doing here. But on Tuesday, I saw this run up. And I was like, oh, I got to get in that. We got to get in that. I checked, there were no options contracts. But again, I'm going to show you that wonderful 50 level on the Fibonacci. Traded right back into the 5618 level, but between our 2150, which is where I always talk about we like to catch our entries. And I bought this stock right around between $4.75 and $5. And I've just sat and watched it appreciate. And if we go to, so now this morning it is up another 37%, been as high as $13.05 on a $4 stock in 3 days. And it's one of those things where it's not something that I don't have a curriculum designed around this. It's not something that I can necessarily teach, but it's one of those things I think where for now, you either follow the wave or you don't. And so now I'm up about probably, what is that, 200%, 300% on these quantum shares. So,
in a matter of days.
yep. And it doesn't always happen like that. We've entered some other penny stocks that I'll say that I am waiting on, but there've been also been some that I've took pretty significant profit on in a matter of weeks. And so some will, some won't, but that's just how that goes. Um, I know Natasha, you have a phone call. I don't know if you want to
Um,
drop this now
no,
or
I'm just waiting on the call to come through. So
okay, they're
just
calling
keep
you.
going.
Okay. So the other thing that interested me and is very similar to your Roblox chart is
Oh,
Google. It's the exact same situation. And Google is actually down a little bit in pre-market. But you can see where we are. We talk about this zone all the time, right between the 21 and the 50. If we put a fib on Google, you can see what your daily stochastic is doing. But if we put a fib on Google and drop down, you'll see that we bounce right off to that 886 level. And we just kind of been trading there, which also happens to be our 200. And so my expectation is that we will consolidate here for a matter of days, probably. before we make our or start to make our way up. But let's see. This looks like the makings of a double or triple bottom. And one thing that I noticed this morning was some significant open interest and trading value that gives the impression of institutional sponsorship on whatever contract that was that I put in the chat this morning. I think it was a 210. No, we're at 190, so it was probably a 200 strike price. And so I may or may not end up entering that this morning. It kind of just depends on what I see at the open. But based on the lowest time frame chart, the 15-minute, I definitely think that we could get a bounce here and make it up to our 200 moving average today. And so I'll keep you guys posted. That's the purpose of this live, is so that we talk about a lot of stuff in pre-market, but when the market opens and things start to develop, you can actually know when we're entering things and why. And so that is it on Google.
And I was looking at, it's funny how I just want to point out buying time, where yesterday you said, I could see Nvidia getting to 126, and it did. Um, didn't get quite there yesterday, I don't believe, but here we sit this morning right at that 126 level. I'm actually looking at it, and it wants to hit the 200 so badly. But giving time on your contracts is another one that we looked at the IWM play. We took profit on that last week, and then it dropped like a rock, and it's coming right back to the levels. It should be at 130 this morning. At least it was last time I checked. So just another reminder when you're purchasing your contracts to definitely buy some time. Um, these levels are powerful. And if you look, ooh, do you see this in video on the daily, ma'am?
Let me see. Hold on. Let me get your screen back up.
You don't like my charts anyway.
There's enough price action on your screen right now for me to be able to see exactly what's going on. And so yeah, we are above. It looks like and I had this chart open on the television up there on the wall, but it looks like we're in prime position to go to that 21, the green moving average for Rita, the 21 moving average at, what is that, 132.94?
Mine's drawn a slightly differently. I'm showing 133.17 ish. Close enough.
So that would be nice today. Let me look at.
I'm gonna just excuse myself for a few moments here, but I will be right back.
Okay. It's gonna mute Natasha. Put my screen back up. What else did I call? So here's something that I did not get an opportunity to talk about yesterday, and it cost us. I put some contracts on this, and I should have done it yesterday. It was on my notebook, my list from yesterday, and I just didn't get an opportunity to talk about it. But I did put some contracts in the mastermind chat for MindMed, and so they are. You can take a March trade if you want, but the reason why I chose to go out to June and January on MindMed is because there are just so many significant catalysts that I want to give those a chance to develop and give the trade a chance to develop. But um, let's put a fib on here on a higher time frame. This is easy. The 200 moving average is at $13.58. And so I know that we'll get there. We might get there within the next few days. I wanted to draw the fib on this big move back here, but we'll focus on this tiny little move in here. And you can see that we bounced the 0.28. Oh no, okay, we're between the 0 and the 0.236. So let's see what that looks like. Probably get a trade, and this is what I want you guys to wait for on this trade. We'll probably get some candles back down into that 879 area. Yep. Our 21 moving average is there on the hourly, and so we'll probably get some strong red candles back down into that area. We may even get some consolidation on the 21 moving average, but based on what you know about Fibonacci, with the amount of time, at least the March contract, preferably June and January, to let the catalyst develop, we will be going to 11 and 12 and 14. And I think that based on what's going on now, and you can check it out on bar chart or just Google search it and use the news tab. What time is it? 9:22. So we got 8 minutes before the market opens, but use the news tab just to get an idea of the catalyst that I'm talking about. But they are developing psychedelic treatments for different mental health issues and things like that. So that was from yesterday. Let's see what else I have for this morning's signals. Google, we talked about. We should talk about Hood, AMTM. Talk about Hood and AMTM. In about 3 minutes or so, I'm going to just take a little intermission to make sure that I'm signed into my accounts and ready to execute the trades that I want to execute at the open. But AMTM just reported earnings, and let's get our higher time frame perspective. 886 is jumping out at me. I'm going to be precise. That's my OCD making me want to be precise with my Fibonacci levels. Now we traded almost into the 886, made a strong, smooth bounce off the 7.9, and now that we are above, this is the 4-hour chart, we're strongly above our 200 with this morning star doji. I think that what we'll probably see at the open is some sort of a retrace, probably some strong red candles to try to shake traders out within that first 15 minutes. But right around this 2257 level would be your entry. Remember that you guys want to enter your calls on red candles. I know it's uncomfortable in the beginning, but trust me, you'll get in profit on your trades and have much less drawdown. And probably anxiety by doing it that way. The difference between buying this contract here on your 21 on this huge red candle and buying it up here after quote unquote confirmation is, let's see just how significant, is the matter of your delta. So if the delta was 50 cents on this trade, this would have cost you $50 buying it here versus here. Let's see. The other possible scenario is that we'll get a sharp trade up into the 0 level to induce traders to go long, and then we would trade back to discourage those traders who did buy on that wick up in this area. But again, I suggest you wait and buy on a red candle in that zone. Checking the chat, don't see any questions. What was the other one that I wanted to look at? AMTM. Oh, Hood. I think Hood either reported or they're due to report. Let's take a quick look at it. What I don't like about Hood is I think the IV was really high, and implied volatility. You could be in the money. And I think we had an example of it on Boeing. Trade moving your direction and your premium still drop because of high imply volatility. And so ideally, you want to look for IV around 40 to 60. But in the event of earnings and other significant news catalysts, IV is just going to be elevated. But I talked to Natasha about talking more about how we're picking contracts, how to select contracts. I think that the easiest way to do it is using bar chart. Um, but check the chat. If anybody has any questions, you can put them um, in the live chat on YouTube. I do have that open on another laptop today. Let me just peek at NVIDIA. 1 second. So, red candle, we traded right back into, let's draw a fib here real quick. This would have been where our 50 moving average was on the 4-hour chart, but we traded right back into the moving averages. And now we are approaching our first profit target. So again, this is another one. Please don't just, if I put something in the chat, a call, please don't just jump in at the open. You should absolutely always, unequivocally, beyond a shadow of a doubt, always be waiting for some sort of retrace into the 21 and 50 and buying on a red candle. If the retrace into the 21 and 50 does not materialize at the open, don't take the trade. That's why I give you 4 or 5 trades every day, because you don't have to feel pressured to take any particular trade. But I am going to take a quick intermission and go get my trading account set up. And take this time to put your questions in the chat, or if there's anything that either of us have called that you want us to take a look at, you could drop those requests in the chat. But for the next 5 minutes or so, I'm going to be addressing my trading account. And so this is exactly what I'm talking about. We should be waiting for those big red scary candles at the open that are the market maker's tool for shaking people out of winning trades. You look at a higher time frame to see if everything about this hourly chart says that this is where we want to be entering calls. Your moving averages are lined up. There's no significant 30%. 30% levy on US imports. I think I'll stay out of that one for today. Might even short it. Trying to see what I want to short. I think that Bob is in the best position, actually. hmm So you might want to see how it handles this moving average. But if we get a close, let's see. If we get a close below these moving averages, I would be looking to trade I'm not Nvidia, BABA down to about 95. They're probably going to take us into these moving averages, and I'm probably going to buy more shares there. Let's see. I want us to look at Oklo. Hmm. Like to try to let the first 15 minutes play out before I do anything drastic. But this is giving entry vibes on my mid and my strike price on my mid. And again, you can do, I think we should be short in China. So Baba was the best, I think, best chart for a short. But Badu, and PDD, let's see what Grab is doing. For those of you that are holding anything short of January 2026 Grab contracts, if we get a close below this moving average, which is at 465, um, please exit those trades. If you have multiple trades, they were really cheap, so you may have multiple trades. Exit at least half. I don't think that will drop much lower than this zone here. And no matter what happens, I think that we'll be back at $5 before January 2026. Yeah, I'm going to probably be entering. Yeah, I'm going to enter my med January 2026, $10. And I may also get some June so I can take profit in intervals. I'm up 72% on AMSC. Let's see what that is doing. If there will be. All right, I hear. Hold on, I hear Natasha. Okay, she's back. Hello, welcome back, ma'am.
I've been back. I was sitting here talking to myself.
I'm sorry. I'm like, wait, I hear what do you call those things? I hear alerts, notifications that I don't recognize. Let me go see. So sorry about that. I just been kind of keep filling the time in
No,
your
it's quite all
absence.
right. Quite all right.
So I'm up
Um,
about by now probably 80% on AMSC.
I
Clean
like
Spark was
it.
another one that I had for this morning, and I opted out of it because the damn IV is so high. But they report
Which one was that?
Clean Spark. They
Sounds like
report
clean energy of some sort.
they report today.
Oh,
Um, but I kind of ranked the plays that I had because I don't want to overwhelm the chat with a bunch of plays. And that was when I decided to leave off. Let's see what Google is doing. And then you can take the floor back if you want.
sure. I want to
I
look
just
at, well, you look at what Google is doing. I want to look at what SoFi is doing. Let's see.
Yep, I'm going to figure out what that Google Play was. I think it was a I don't remember. Let me look. Don't forget Hood, guys. I will go back to it. So I'm taking a 200 March 21st call on Google. Where do I want to take it? I'll take it over here. Options. All right, Fidelity is working against me.
That's a,
Let me know if you want to pull your chart up, and I will. I gotta turn it on. I hate it, but
no, that's fine. I like to watch my indices, but yes, we can turn the chart on.
all right. So this 200 March Google call is really, really cheap in my opinion at $3.35.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm
March
going.
21, the monthly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Grabbed a few of those, and you guys can see why. Hopefully on the chart. Um, we'll see. I took a day trade scalp day trade yesterday short on Tesla in my Robinhood account, and I jumped out, and I knew that I should have stayed in, but I just didn't want to risk
Let's take a look at Tesla. I'm not sure I actually have that marked up. Tesla's action has just been so weird to me. Like, in my personal opinion, there's no real reason for it to be up. Like, other than, and no conspiracy theory here, but it just seems like everybody who was at that inauguration, their their uh their stocks are doing okay, relatively speaking.
it. Let's test that theory. What is Meta doing? Oh, I know Meta got some significant price target increases. This is the trade from yesterday, guys. Somebody asked me about a trade last night. It was a 20, I can't remember what it was. But I'm interested to see what that's doing now. It was a call from yesterday. I'll find it in a minute. Amazon. I just want to test what Amazon. I hate trading stuff up this high. I really do. That's something that I never developed comfort with, and I think it's because I just always love to trade puts. And you can see that I've worked on that because I don't call a lot of puts. But I just always had a preference for puts. Natasha, let me know when you are ready to, or you want to share your chart.
We can go ahead and let me increase the size of my candles here for you. um,
It's actually making them smaller. Is what. There you. Yes. Oh, yep. There you go.
you like it?
Did I turn mine off and turn? Yeah, I'm on. I'm just on a delay. We got you.
Yeah, I mean Tesla's coming back to the 50, it looks like, but I feel like it's just going to turn around and bounce right here. I'm looking at the 4 hour. But we were talking about testing that theory. Every time that Tesla should drop, and I've seen them, hopefully Hanisha got out of her puts that she got trapped in the other day, but just craziness to me. Um, how some of this how this is working, because I feel like Tesla should be about 268. And the only thing I can think of that is preventing it from being there is his buddy. um, but you and Tesla looks like it's probably going to bounce off the 50.
Let's see. I should have stayed in that put yesterday. I would be having a much better morning, even with my cold coffee. But again, it's just, you never know what's going to be said overnight. I can see now that I'm looking at the daily perspective, I can see it going to 340. It's honestly 341. I can see it going to 341. Let's see what it
As it
looks like.
should be based on its earnings. Like, there was nothing good about that. Nothing good
I
about its
don't
earnings.
like Tesla as the staff, a record label, or as a crew. But I try not to insert my bias into trading. Um, but I don't nothing to like about Tesla, really.
Um, I'll tell you what I like about Tesla. Um, and I own quite a bit. And
I
it's doing
still remember
okay
the
based
day
on,
that I announced to the chat that I sold my Tesla shares. I still remember that day. It was a long time ago. But okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, but primarily what I like about them is that they have made me money. um, talking about trading preference and things like that. Um, it moves when it moves, and so I find it easy to catch a good trade and to make some good money on it.
So that's the difference. I think liking to trade something that's highly volatile makes a lot of sense, but that don't mean that it's a good company or that I necessarily want to ride in their vehicles.
No, but I think that it's like that cult like following. Tesla's going to be around, you know, and people are going to buy into the hype. Um, and I'm going to keep making money.
Indeed, I like the short Tesla. I'm up 141% on my QNTM. Q N as in Nancy, T as in Tom, M as in Mary shares. So I'm liking that.
Oh, nice.
What else we got going on here? Gotta look at SMCI. If you want to pull it up for me,
I can.
because they're not cooperating.
No, I have a. Let me take this.
Have a little bit
Um,
of patience with them, though.
I mean, they're not doing horribly in comparison. I'm surprised they went forward with that split. Very surprised that they did that, which is really a neither here nor there thing. Where do I want to? We'll draw here. Or we can go from here to here. Um, it is on my radar, though, I will say, with the earnings report next week. We're gonna see where that takes us. I think if we
I think I'm seeing an opportunity to scalp. It's probably more than a scalp, but Nvidia right here is bouncing off of it's between my 21 and 50 on the 15, which is just where I like to buy stuff. Let's see.
mm, I actually like if I'm looking at SMCI, let me drop down real quick. If I'm looking at SMCI, I really so far I think I like yeah, that 35. It's probably pricey, but I like it. For next week, the inherent danger is though that, they don't make earnings. I need to look and figure out, because remember we had all these accounting discrepancies and what have you. I need to look and figure out when the due date is for all of that, because that's still not behind them, and I'm sure that they gave the new accounting firm a deadline. So, oh yeah, it looks like it wants 35 today.
I just entered 135 March on Nvidia.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see it. I see it. I
Okay,
see it.
SMCI.
Yeah, it's doing its thing. I said it could hit 35 today.
My watch list, that's the other thing. I just give little nuggets, right? As I think about them. But my watch list is like my GPS. It lets me know where to go. It lets me know what sectors are running. It lets me know where I need to focus my attention. And so, yep, my watch list is 238 stocks deep. But if you can't find an opportunity to make some money every day out of 238 stocks, then perhaps I'm not gonna say
I guess the world is waiting
that.
to hear what you had to say. But no,
No.
I get it. And I think that some of this just comes with turning out real traders, right? You can't expect that someone who's at the very beginning, but yeah, that they are running. You can't expect somebody who's just learning and just getting comfortable with the concept of trading and trading options to be able to keep up with that much. It's definitely an acquired skill for sure.
So I've recommended on Wednesdays that they do pick, kind of like you, a handful of stocks that they like to trade and that they know like the back of their hand. They know what the companies are doing, they know what the financials are, they know what times the moves occur every day. Um and that is maybe possibly for newer traders the best way to go about things. However, um, how many new traders do you know? How many people do you know that you haven't known to be in this space for? Um, hold on, how many people do you know that you haven't known to be in this space for at least 5 years? The entire time that we've been in the space.
Um, well, I mean, that's a good question. That's a real good question.
Like
Not
I
too
don't know
many.
how long has Hanisha been trading? She might be
She's
a
been
good
trading
example.
options like 2 weeks.
Oh, see, now that's a newer trader. That's somebody that I would have a conversation about risk appetite with, um, and about setting realistic expectations.
And I actually had that conversation with her the other night, and she's only trading two or three things. That's it. And her desire is to get there. She's a project manager, so she's got some level of analytical brain, as in general. So, but yes, I definitely
Look at
see.
QNTM. Now this is I bought it at $5, somewhere in there in that range, right? They did not have options, so I had to, just go ahead and spend the $500. But look at it. I'm sorry, you can't see it.
I was gonna say, like, wait, where are we at?
Uh, I wish we could both share our charts at the same time, but it said
Well,
$14.50 in a
here, I'll
matter
pull
of
it up.
days. I'm not going to take profit on this, and that's the other thing I wanted to say about
Oh,
my
dang.
list. I don't know what half of I know what they do because that is a part of making it into my list is that I have to evaluate what you do and look at your financials before you make it into my list. But once you're in the list, I know it's a safe bet. But I'm gonna hold this. I'm gonna hold these shares. I'm not taking profit. And
I mean,
I'm looking to potentially roll AMSC because they also are engaged in something that I want to be long term on. Let me see what they do. Oh, we talked about this, Natasha. American Superconductor Corporation.
oh yeah, we talked about that like 2 nights ago.
So different than semiconductor, superconductor. So I'm going to be rolling these. I am in the money now, and I'm just waiting for a retrace to roll these to some. Let me see what my expiration is. I'm in April, so I don't even have to move these. Probably up 200% now. Let's see.
That's a lovely, lovely trade.
It is quite nice. It is quite nice. And so I spent some days in waiting. I'm up 150%. I spent some days waiting.
150. So, and I'm assuming that everybody understands what a penny stock is. Is that an accurate assessment from the folks?
I've been talking about it the entire time they've been with me, so I would
Okay.
think so, yeah.
Whatever happened to Luck and Coffee?
A scam, a scam. AMD is just poor baby. What did they do?
Let's see. What do we got going on here, AMD?
There was something else I wanted to look at. SMCI.
Oh, oh, poor little Tink Tink. But it looks like it might be catching on the 21, potentially. So, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin? I know it's not holding a key level for you. Are you thinking more upward movement, more downward movement? Because I know we keep talking about this 87 level. Are you thinking that we go there before we go back up, or are you thinking that we go up before we come back down?
I'm gonna look at it again because I haven't looked at it since the day of that press conference. Let's put my screen up real quick. I want to also look back at the Chinese stocks real quick. Let me see. February 20th. Let me see what PDD is doing real quick. While you were on your call, I had talked about a potential short on these guys based on
I actually
this.
heard all that. I was
Oh,
back for like 10 minutes before you realized.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay. So, is this the right chart?
Let's see.
Because I have
Yeah,
the
your BTC USD, is that what you intended to pull?
yeah, but it's not. So I have two. This is the one I think we want with that 8-7. What was the level? You know it better than I do.
108686.
Hmm. Bitstamp. Maybe it's the Bitstamp chart. Whatever the case may be, right? We have consolidated, and we'll call it between the 382 and the 0 since, let's call it November 26th. Um, and based on the fact, this is a daily chart, based on the fact that now we've closed so strongly below both of the low time frame moving averages, the 21 and the 50. My and the stochastic is bearish. Let's look. It's looking like Tesla to me. If we close, I'll say this. If we close below 97,888, we should go back to 92-ish. I don't think that anybody's trading this, but I think that Bitcoin is a good barometer for at least a handful of stocks. But to some extent, overall sentiment, overall market sentiment, um, we know what institutions are doing. They're buying at all of these prices. Oh my goodness! Look at you. Would you look at this?
Oh,
Oh yeah, you can see it.
I can see it.
So we've hit. I'm staying.
You said it's a wrap.
I'm staying because this is the final profit target, really. And so I know that I'm gonna have. I wish I had bought more. That's my only regret, is that I wish I had bought more. Um, this is like final destination up here, and so maybe I'll buy some more at 1370. Let's look at. I really enjoy what we do. I've had a lot of jobs. I started working when I was 14. Never had a better job. Um, I really enjoy trading. I really enjoy teaching. My desire is just to help other people achieve what I consider like maximum freedom.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I knew trading was for me, when I was able to just be like, up, the world is shut down. Me and the kid, we're going to go to Mexico for a month and just chill out. That for me was huge. I think that was kind of the turning point where I was just like, I mean, I wasn't necessarily working for anyone at that point. I was doing the business coaching and my real estate, but I think that for me is absolutely 1,000,000% what did it. It was like, this is so nice. I can wake up and go sit out on the balcony and trade while the kid does his school, and we can go hang out afterwards. There was no better feeling than that. And then at some point during that trip, I got a call from my brother, like, hey, I'm taking my kids to Puerto Rico. We literally flew back home, stayed the night, and left the next morning to go spend another week in Mexico. I mean, I'm sorry, in Puerto Rico, from having left Mexico. And the only reason why we didn't go straight from Mexico to Puerto Rico is because it would have, like, the layovers were something ridiculous, like 12, 13 hours. So I was like, I'll go sleep in my bed tonight and leave in the morning. And that is precisely what we did.
There was something that I put it in a Mighty Network. It's like DEFTF. Hold on one second. So I hear you, Natasha, but when is our vacation?
Well, so one of my homegirls called me last night about a cruise in July. It's a hard pass for me because I am not spending $1,200 for a 4-day cruise out of Jacksonville to go to the Bahamas. Not happening.
You know, I want to go to the Bahamas to get my hair done.
Yes, but just fly. Like, just fly. Like, you don't need to spend $1,200 on a cruise. And there's nothing all that special about the Bahamas, actually, except for maybe that's where the person you want to do your hair is.
Quantum is pulling back. So I'm gonna be looking to, hopefully, let me draw another fib.
And I'm
Let's move this one.
looking. No,
Let's
NDX is not what I
see
want to look at.
where We might go back to 1281 even. So here's where I am. I think this is important to talk about. And if you want to pull your charts back up, if you're looking at something, just let me know. I need to turn it on. I hate that about
Yeah,
H.
you can turn it back on. What I am looking at specifically, because I love indexes, um, is this level right here on
Wait 1 second. Hold on. I'm a little slow. There you go.
so what I'm looking at here is this level right here on SPX. We are, I don't know, like if you look, like I'm not going to draw another fib, but if you look where we're at here, if this thing starts to drop, I'm not really expecting to drop until tomorrow, to be honest with you, but looking for some scalp puts, or to scalp some puts rather. Ideally, I'd like to see it get right back up here to about 60, 80, and then run it for a few points down. The thing with the index puts is they run, so you will lose value very quickly if the trade goes against you, but you will gain value very, very quickly when they're going in your favor. And I do like to, I would never put out there to a chat to do ODTEs, but they're kind of my thing. We sat on my couch and I took 200%.
I think that there are some people in the chat who would appreciate that actually. And for those who don't want to trade them, they won't trade them. But I think that there are definitely some traders in the chat that will want to take those with you.
Oh, you think so? Okay. I just, I don't want anybody to ever lose money fooling with me. um, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing to look at, because I would definitely let them know that it's a lotto for sure. Um, but I don't know, Leslie, what was the span? Maybe 10 or 15 minutes after I said I was taking it before I was up 200%. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the thing to recognize with this 0 days to expiration on the indices is that have to you absolutely have to take your profit when you see it, because it could bounce and you'll go from being up 200% to being down 25 in the blink of an eye.
I called an Oklo put yesterday. And you can look at it real quick. I'll be right back. Give me about 2 minutes. I'm gonna put myself on mute and
Are you
go
going to go warm up
handle
your
it.
coffee?
No, I'm not going to warm up my coffee this time. I'll be right back.
Okay. So just looking, our primary goal here is to find good setups, and sometimes that involves watching paint dry, which is kind of where I feel like we are right now. I know Leslie's preference is to be into whatever calls or puts you're going to be in by 10. It's 10:05. My preference is really to wait and see how the first hourly candle of the day closes, which is 10:30. There's no right way or wrong way or right method. It is about what works best for you, in terms of what your trading style is. Um, the market is always going to offer opportunity any time of the day. And so you have to just kind of be on watch for those kinds of things. But I think I'm feeling pretty good about a little bit more bullish continuation in the indices. And what is Roblox doing? So just to take it back to Roblox, kind of what we said earlier today, didn't think that it would go much lower. And you can see on this hourly candle here, it wicked right down to the 618, and it's trying to take out the 50 level. It actually went from the 382, wicked from the 382 down to the 618, and then back up again. Um, this is definitely something on my radar for lower calls, especially if we can get a close above the 50 for on the day. Um, just revisiting the setup here on NVIDIA. Their earnings are, when are their earnings? Where are you at, NVIDIA? I know she's already put a contract out there. February 26th. I'm probably going to be making an entry today on that. Um, Looking at some more of the China stuff.
I'm back, by the way.
You're back. We
Thanks for
missed
joining
you.
me. Let me look at.
Did you miss us?
I did, I did.
Well, as you tell.
I want to talk a little bit about my personal goal. So the mentorship has been open for what is it? What is it? What is it? Since December 2nd was the launch date. And um so my goal now is to, I know the conversation that you and I had about this yesterday, but my goal now, honestly, is to find myself, and I don't know why or how I came up with the number 6, but to find myself, I'll say 5 or 6 people who want to be developed as traders. And there will be some rules, right? They cannot, I don't want to work with anybody that's trading 73 different models. Um, I don't want to, I think that probably sums it up. I want to work with somebody or with 5 or 6 people who recognize that for whatever myriad of reasons, they have not been able to find consistent success, and accept that all they really need is some willingness, and a mentor who has found consistent success, and to be teachable, and pliable, and to just apply the concepts consistently. And I want to work with those people for a period of 12 months, and I'll just leave it there. And so now I'm on the hunt for those people. I think it would be interesting, Natasha, if from our live training, we could identify some of those people, and that we could get ourselves about 10 or 12 people that, like the mastermind, for example. I have what's going on over there, but that is my intention for that group. Um, but if we both could find ourselves about 5 or 6 people each and just really put 100% of our effort into developing them as traders that have both of our skill sets and perspectives. So the fundamentals, the charting, some of the more advanced stuff that I have but really don't use, um, and just see where we are at the end of a year. I think that we'll have some. I think that what we'll end up with is some wonderful testimonials. But that's my goal. That's what I want for myself. What do you think about that?
I like it. I think that it's always helpful. It's almost like a kind of hire from within, right? Train a person from the bottom up to do them. And I honestly prefer, you mentioned earlier how many people we know who've kind of been doing this and have some fundamentals. What I found is a lot of people who thought that they were traders didn't find consistency, and so have put it down for one reason or another. But I do think that there's some talent just floating about here that we could develop. And honestly, I don't want to say waste my time. But in theory, like if someone's not serious and they don't want this and they don't see this being, um, what is for them longer term, whether they're going to use it personally or professionally, I I want to turn out the best because I feel like that is a reflection of who each of us are. And I want people who want to be the best. But yes, I would absolutely love to basically develop a garden. Like, it's like we're planting seeds and water them and watch them blossom so that they can in turn plant more seeds. I like it.
I think that's the goal. It's funny that we both kind of on the same page about that, and I don't know uh what's got you feeling that way, but you kind of hit the nail on the head with wasting time. Um, and I think that's a part of it. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste anybody else's time. I don't want to waste anybody else's money. And I think that the nature of the beast is just that people have been convinced by Facebook posts of people who probably aren't even profitable themselves that trading is some sort of a get rich thing that you can, just do, just happen. And it's not like that. And so I want to work with people who are mature enough to recognize that even though I may have been sold on those ideas, I now understand that that's really not the case, and I'm ready and willing to do what I need to do to get where I want to be. And so that's all I'm gonna say about that. Let's get back into some charts.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm actually really liking where, and while you were on your little break, we kind of talked about my preference for 10:30 for entry. Um, I'm waiting very patiently. I see some. I feel like I see a few things setting up, and it looks
Mm,
like I exited my PANW way too early. But if anybody took that with me yesterday, you're up roughly 55%, depending on where you bought.
Let me see what Oklo is doing. I don't want to miss my exit. All right, it's bouncing. Let me get out because I don't feel like. Yeah, the question is this now an opportunity to enter calls again on Oklo? So I think I took a, let me see what the contract is. I took a $45 February 21st put on Oklo yesterday. I'm just gonna go ahead and jump out of it now. Because it's printing green, and then I'll figure out I shouldn't have done that. I wanted to see if I wanted to stay in it. We're not. I'm looking at the 4 hour. We haven't hit the 21 moving average yet, and so I jumped out prematurely. But it happens.
Take
Daily
profit
chart.
when you see it.
Yeah, yeah. It was intended to be a scalp, but let me see. If we break below 46.93 at any point within, if at any point this morning, I'm getting back in it to take it to 40 or lower. That's all I say about that. But if we do not, then I'm getting back in calls because Oklo
Now,
is
this is interesting. Hmm.
hmm.
So, ARM had earnings yesterday and it dropped like a rock. It is up like $12 off of lows. That's the chart that I currently have up. Ooh, look at SMCI run.
I was just looking at that and I was gonna try to get some more contracts, and then I got distracted by something, and but it's all right. I got some contracts that I thought I bought yesterday, and so I'm just gonna let those run. Just going to let those run. Unless I get a retrace back to the 2150, then I will add more. So AMSC has reached the 0.236 level. It's starting to look like it wants the doji here. And so,
I will be right back, ma'am.
okay,
All right.
let me see. Check socials. Huh. Profit target is the 886 at 36. Call it 36. Let me try to get us some. Where could I draw it? So we know our profit target is 36. We're going to put another fib here. Bullish fib here. Bounce off the 886. We're at the 50. Bullish stochastic. I just need a retrace. Need a retrace. Let me write it down because I'll forget. I've been watching ASTS. I prefer to enter stuff early than to come into the market and feel like I missed something because I missed all of this, or worse, all of this. And so that's why, honestly, lots of times I'm early. I prefer to be early than to be late. Now I have to wait. I've waited, and now I have to wait more for a retrace. But writing it on my trusty notebook so that I don't forget. They probably do not have KZIA. Everything that I tell you guys to do, I try to do myself. And so I have a notebook. I keep a notebook right next to me as I'm trading. And when I see things, so that I don't forget them, I write at least the ticker down. But if I can, I write some little note about exactly what it is that I'm looking to see happen. And this is so the purpose of this, I was telling Natasha this morning because we were talking about how around this time we started to feel like it kind of starts to drag. But that is kind of the necessary length of time because of how things play out in the morning. Um, so the idea is that if you can't be here the whole time, you can pop in when you can and catch something. So right now, you are not too late on the Google trade. We entered, what was it? Google 200s for, I believe, March. But if you're in the mentorship, the contract is in the chat from this morning. And we have blown right through that profit target. I said to hold for at least 34. Now it looks like we're going to try to get that 38. Um, but this is American Superconductor Corporation, not Semiconductor Corporation. And so that is excuse me guys, infrastructure stuff that you just want to be involved in, considering where we are technologically. What else is worth looking at? DEFTF. And I don't, if I remember correctly, these guys don't have options, but I want to show you. I'll put the link in the chat and show you what they do, though. Show you that. DeFi Technology Foundation, I think it's called. I don't know. We'll see. DeFi Technologies, Inc. Acquire equity, debt, or other securities of publicly traded or private companies or other entities. And they got some significant contracts and funding this morning that put them squarely on my radar. It's a $3 stock. You guys know I like stocks that are under $10. And so I am going to be buying some shares today. I'm actually going to be buying some shares right now. Hmm. Sorry for the silence, guys. I'm just looking at my accounts to see where I want to buy these shares. I think that was actually the entry opportunity on Okla. So I'm glad I jumped out. Ah, that's what the trade was. It was AI. I'm getting distracted, but anyway, somebody asked me about AI yesterday, and I really don't have a response. The AI contract was given on Tuesday, and I'm gonna take profit on it. Let me see. What? Oh no, I'm not. No, I'm not. AI trade was given on Tuesday, and so it was a $30 strike for April. I don't see any possible way that we could not be in profit on that trade. But based on this daily chart, I'm gonna hold. That's why I like to have time. I'm gonna hold definitely up to the day of options. I mean to the day of earnings. See what else is moving in the list. I actually might want to get some more shares of ASST. Write that down. DEFTFASST. And in these little quiet moments, I'm just remember, guys, that my real job is I'm a trader, and so if I'm quiet or nothing is going on the screen, it's because I'm doing trade management, and that is necessary. I'm up decent on SMCI because they are February 21st calls. Let me see how I want to handle those. I'm gonna roll. I'm up only 20% on, but because of the number of contracts that I have, it's decent. $40 February 21st calls on SMCI that I'm about to roll, and I will let you know. I'm gonna check bar chart to see what I want to roll them to. Hmm. I said I'm in what? 40s? I'm actually going to roll back to 35s. But roll the date out. Ah, I don't like Fidelity. I really don't. But it is what it is. I don't like, you must edit this order. Hmm. All right, trade management. You can see that a part of it is kind of not just I apologize if you got that impression, but just taking trades and letting them do as they will. A huge part of it is trade management and seeing where you are, see what your profit is looking like, look at the chart, determine whether you want to stay in that. B. Riley adjusts Oklo price target to $58 from 27 cents. That's something that, although we're already at 47, I hate the analysts. I really do. Although we're already at 47, that's something that's highly actionable. Signs deal to boost nuclear capabilities. Let me see if we might get a deeper retrace. I try to focus my energy too. I try to focus my energy and my trading dollars on stuff that is worth being in. Um, so Oklo is, in my opinion, something that's worth being in. Just checking the old trade accounts. VDRM. When did I buy this? 2021. Nvidia. When did I buy this? Is this what I bought today? Yep. Okay. So let's look. Did I? You know what? If Natasha is stuck in the waiting room, you back, Natasha?
I've been back. I'm on mute.
I'm sorry. I'm like, wait a minute. This is me filling a lot of time here. She's probably over there.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've been back. You unmuted me, then you muted me again. I was just like, well, all right.
Let me figure out if there's a way I can fix that and give us like equal. I don't know. I gotta look at it. See what can be done about that. Because once I get started looking at charts and stuff, but
Yeah.
anyway, you're
Okay,
back.
she'll find me. She'll find me. So you were talking about SMCI, and I was actually trying to not insert anything into it, but you said you're rolling back from your 40s to 35. What are you doing?
I was gonna roll from what did I have? Because I sold them because of the way
35.
Fidelity
So
is.
look,
I had March 40s, I think, and I wanted to roll back to April 35s, but whereas E-Trade kind of seems like they let me do anything I want to do. Um, Rolling doesn't work the same way on Fidelity, and so I just collapsed the trade and probably forgot honestly to even go back to that. But I'm going to let you share your screen while I go ahead and handle some stuff because I know this is your prime time.
this is my prime time. We would have done really well to have taken some calls on Roblox today, though. If you see what it's doing, um, right now, the what's on my radar, I'm looking. I like Google. You called that earlier. Um, just interesting action in Baba. It just does not seem to want to go down.
I just attribute that to the amount of time that it's been down. Like, damn, everybody get parole at some point. They ain't killed nobody.
We're gonna call it parole.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Let it out the box.
so I'm really watching here for a trade in one direction or the other on SPX, and I was looking. My chart's all messed up, but I was looking at potentially. Um, I think where we are. We're on a daily. I'm going to drop this to a monthly. I'm actually having trouble with where to draw my fib, but I definitely think we can see 40, 42 on SMCI. So I'm looking for not necessarily an entry, but I'm looking for a good contract there while we are on.
Now, hold on for let's go back to that real quick. Where are you trying to draw your fib at?
Uh,
Which time frame?
I was looking at the monthly, so maybe drop down to the daily.
I would go with that, but over to that low. Low. Nope.
This low.
All the way to the bottom. The one that doji at the
Oh,
bottom. Yep.
okay.
I would use that one.
And we're gonna take it to this high. I love that little magnet thing. Okay. Bring that back in. Bring it back over. Looks like 36 for sure. Um, I I don't think we get to 48 on. Well, no, we actually could, and I would tell you the circumstance in which I believe that happens. Could we get back to 48? Could we get to the zero? Quite possibly, if and only if they fix that report. So I'm also looking at, remember, I kind of told you my experience has been that it will, the market is waiting for its earnings. I don't, and they usually pre announce, which hasn't happened yet. Um, I, I may actually be lottoing this. Let me look. And so I would build a position, kind of like you do a lot of rolling, and my position building, I just scale out. Um, Actually quite affordable. Eh, decent volume, but I know I think kind of expensive, but the March 21st, I like the 42s. I also like the 40s. I'm looking for an entry. I think somewhere between 40 and 42, with an expiration at least in March.
Okay, now I got the price for the house. You're almost done. I charge you.
1 second. Let me mute myself really quickly so that Leslie doesn't have to mute me.
I, you guys can hear my Keurig in the background, so I'm gonna mute myself for the next 60 seconds or so while my coffee prints.
Sorry about that, folks. I was chatting with my housekeeper. Uh, so yes, I'm looking for an entry here. We work on daily.
Let me show you something real quick. More so the mentorship than you, but I just want to keep driving the point about entries. Um, and so how I would do this is I would draw on the 15-minute chart from low to high and gauge where my 50, couple things I'm looking for. Where is my 50 and where are my moving averages? And so for me, an entry is one of those points. The other thing that you may want to do, so yeah, I think that 33 somewhere in this zone is not a significant amount of movement, but it could make a big difference to wait for that. The other thing that you can do is this, and draw it on yesterday, particularly if you had this upward movement yesterday and then a movement in the opposite direction. My one concern is that if some news comes out and we start to trade much deeper, but I wouldn't enter um until we hit at least this 50 level, guys. So don't just go all willy-nilly jumping in a trade because Miss Natasha said or because I said. You have to do some due diligence and some technical analysis on the lower time frame to make sure that you get an ideal entry and don't experience a lot of drawdown. So I'm giving you the screen back, Natasha.
Well, you just said it. I mean, that was pretty sound advice. Um, so yeah, I mean, and I think we're gonna get to the 50 for that entry pretty quickly. Something just happened in the market where everything just kind of dipped a little. So I'm kind of cautious about an entry right this second. Give it a few minutes to shake out, but like everything just kind of paused for a second here.
So
Um,
my perspective is, and you mentioned when I was away earlier about the time. My perspective is that you get a nice move or a nice jolt between 9:45 and about 10:30, and then you start to see, I'll call it a reset. You start to see something like a retrace or a reset right around this time that would give you the entry for Miss Natasha's ideal time. And that's kind of why. But I think we've done okay. I've taken little 5 minute silences. You've done what you needed to do. But I explained to them when you were gone that we will not be talking 100% of the time. We're going to be managing our own trades. Um, and just kind of watching and waiting. And the idea with us being here this long is that we don't really expect most people to be able to watch the full 2 hours or whatever it is, but that you pop in when you can and that you can watch long enough to catch an entry on something if you're not confident enough to find your own entry. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
yeah, that little. I like the way that you described that. That little jolt, and I just saw it. Um, But I'm really, 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 really liking SMCI right now. And it seems like everything just took like a little breather. um, yeah, I'm
I'm
sick that I didn't.
actually
I'm
gonna. I
sick that I
wanna.
didn't grab that entry on Roblox. Look at it.
I wanna mention real quick here that I'm gonna buy some more ASST shares right now. That's the ones that I sold. I don't know, probably last week. $1,600 profit real quick on a quick few day trade. But now I'm trying to build the number of shares back up. So I'm buying those now.
So on this ASST trade, so you exited and you're getting ready to re-enter. What was your size when you're purchasing hard shares? What determines how many you purchase?
A lot of different things. It might be how much of my capital have I already used? How much do I have left? But I typically do a minimum of 100. Ideally is 1,000. Um, and then it depends on where we are on the chart right now. And so I exited and then I bought some more, but probably about half as many as I had last time.
Okay.
Um, but let me see. You're not looking at my chart, are you? You're looking at your chart. And that's fine if you are.
I
I'm just trying
am.
to see where I am.
Well, your chart's not even up. I was sitting here watching Roblox run without me.
So because we just bounced off the 886 on the 3rd, right now we're trading at my 7.9. I'm gonna get as many as I can. And I'm gonna try to take it up to double my money from about 74 cents to $1.35. But the profit target, if I hold them, and I will do that this time because the experience that I had last time was selling them. Should have just held them. But I wanted to show them how you take profit on penny stocks when you see the move. Would be $3. And I also told them while you were gone that anything that's in my watch list is something that I have kind of investigated and is worth holding. So let me just so they have contracts with TikTok, Discord, and other social media platforms to do marketing and content delivery services. And so that's
Oh,
one of those things. The revenue is consistently increasing. That's something that I want to be in potentially forever, you know?
I was gonna say for me that sounds like a long-term hold.
Everything I do is I don't trade anything that I wouldn't want to hold.
And that's
And
a
for
good
me, lots of
philosophy.
times, especially with the penny stocks, the idea of trading it is to get into a so if I'm trading options on a penny stock, the goal is to end up with profit on the options and the shares.
And that's actually how I amassed pretty much my whole portfolio, trading options. Not the whole portfolio, but I'd say about 85% of it was just using the profit from the options contracts to be able to own those shares essentially for free. It's part of why I feel like I'm able to just kind of set it and forget it. Like, I have accounts that I just never really look at. I wait for the tax statement every year, and that's how I know what it did.
Yeah, I'm sitting here. The only trade that I had that this week that I'm not happy with is the one that I took from your boy, that app loving trade. And it expires tomorrow, which is completely against all of my principles. And I'm paying for it.
Eh,
So won't do that again anytime in the near future.
I mean, well, I don't know, like how much you're, into it. Remember, I had 370, so it's in the money at present, and I'm expecting a run up on it tomorrow. just because earnings are next week. But yeah, I thought the 400 was way too far out.
I
Now, does
believe.
it get there on earnings? Quite a possibility.
When is
Um,
earnings?
Next week on the 12th. So what is that, Wednesday?
I believe so. Let me see. Yep, it's Wednesday. We're getting a retrace. I talked about ASTS at some point, but now it's that time. This is, for me, my experience has been that if you're not in the first 15 minutes or so, then you miss the initial run up and you have to kind of sit through the retrace or consolidation that starts around this time. And so right now we're getting that on ASTS, and so we should be getting an entry on that. It's approaching the 2150 and the 618 level again. I'm gonna look back at my Chinese stocks because I want to get back in something, BABA or
We're
PDD.
sitting here. I just said it, right? This would have been a great scalp on SPY, SPX, whichever one you want to play, or even XSP. But if you look at what it's done, it just keeps getting to that level and then kind of dropping, getting to that level and then kind of dropping. That for me is a super in and out trade, right? Maybe 20, 30 minutes at most for it to materialize and take my capital and go.
Hmm. This is my Tesla scalp day. So I'm going to be looking for, because of I believe that you get several days of movement in one direction on Tesla, and then that typically Wednesday or Thursday it starts to move back in the other direction.
Tesla likes to move on Friday.
So with that said, I'm going to be looking to enter calls on Tesla today. Um, Let me look at.
What do you think about the news of them increasing hiring for their robotics initiative?
And wait, increasing hiring for their robotics initiative.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is, I said, I think yesterday, that the word of the year is going to be efficiency.
You did.
And the second word of the year is going to be layoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you hire for your robotics initiative, that means somebody somewhere else is getting fired.
Great point.
Um, because the robots aren't just going to stand around. So, but that is the other thing that we've been talking about, is that means share price appreciation. I still think Tesla could get to 340 if we close below. Current fib level is 373. We are well below that. That's on the weekly though. Let me go back and look at something else. I think it's probable that Tesla could go to 340.
Are you
What do
seeing
you
that this week though?
Not necessarily this week, but it's possible. But not necessarily this week, no. Right now, I just moved my fib, and that would put the support, that would make the support my 7.9 at 360.60. And I'll tell you guys, I drew my low is November 27th and the high is 12/18. And so there, boom, you can get your fib just like mine. We're at the 7.9 level. We are on the daily chart oversold.
You
And
have to share your charts again, because they're still looking at mine.
mm, guess that is probably best. I thought I could just talk y'all through it, but here we go. So fib drawn on the daily time frame from, is this where I want it to be? Or would it be better here? So let me see something. Swing high, swing high. It's Probably better here, actually. And that puts us squarely on the 7-9 level. Oversold. Oversold and turning. I told you guys that I want to take a call on it today, but I do still see the potential. And so if I were to take a call on this today, I would base it on my 4 hour and look to take it up to this level, back up to the 7-1, no less than 377, but probably back into these moving averages. And I would need at least the next week contract. And then I think we trade back up into here and trade off again potentially because like I said, I do still see 340 as a possibility. But that was based on I had drawn a bearish fib, and I couldn't even tell you where I had drawn it at this point. But we'll see. Remember that. Write it down at 10:53 on 2/6. I said that 341, call it 341, was a possibility on Tesla. But for now, I'm going to be looking to take a call back up to 377 just to make some quick spending money today. Nvidia.
So it's almost time for us to start wrapping up. Did anyone have any chart requests or anything that they want addressed before today's call ends?
Where are you looking for these answers? Are you in the mastermind chat? I mean
I can see all the just so I can see the mastermind chat. I just maybe I just assumed that people were listening. Here we go. I'll put it.
Oh, we gotta get that Discord going. I forgot about that. So much to do. So AMSC is starting to break down. But that was a sweet trade. We can't. I don't really have. You guys can still see my charts.
I just yeah, we can still see your chart. I just tossed it out there to the group to see if anyone had anything they needed addressed or wanted to look at.
I'm gonna be buying some more QNTM here. Um, Damn, I wish I had bought more that first day. That's the one thing I hate is it's a trader's regret. IDCC, we apparently missed. They reported. Can't catch them all. Not Pokemon.
We are not.
Mm,
What
T
does
dot
IDCC do? Oh, it's
technology and packaged software of some sort. All of this stuff is in AI, nuclear, clean energy, robotics is in here, biotech, so stuff that has an AI and health component. But that's pretty much 99% of what my watch list is made up of.
okay.
Um, so stuff that I think has explosive, and I'm just showing you guys some things that you can look at on your own. Lightem is in a good position for another trade. QFIN was interesting. Um, STEM is at a good price. Maybe not yet ready, but at 58 cents, do you really need it to be ready? It won't go much lower than that. Clean Spark, not doing much of anything. All right, Natasha, remind me what I need to be watching for entries on from your side today.
So from my side, Roblox, I feel like we could have potentially. I don't know if we missed it. It had a nice pop. I'd like to see a little bit of retracement on it before I enter, but I don't think you're gonna be able to beat that thing down too long. We're already in Nvidia. I kind of like where ARM is sitting, though it dropped on earnings. So it's definitely something I'm watching for a
It's
short term.
right. It bounced hard right off the 200.
Yep. Um, and then SMCI, and I think I'm getting ready to take an entry any minute now on that. And that's what I got for today. That's where I'll be focusing my dollars. I may actually go ahead and follow you into some of these hard shares because why not? You've never led me wrong.
All right. It has been a real pleasure as usual, and we will see you guys in the chat. Natasha, if you don't have anything to do, go to the she shed and give me a call for about 10 minutes.
I am in the she shed
All right, well,
because
call
we
me.
had housekeeping.
You know I need to get a phone, so give me a call.
Oh,